Welcome to Contemplative Living, where we view contemplations for the week to have a better understanding of our spiritual paths. This is Contemplative Living with Dave Bennett, Contemplations and Reflective Meditations. Welcome to another episode of Contemplative Living. All right, we started out by saying that this week was, kind of a hectic week. We had a strawberry moon, and with that strawberry moon brought, there were many astrological alignments that brought a lot of energy, and that energy, showed up in a lot of different ways. In a lot of empowerment, in a lot of turmoil. We saw it all this week, so it's kind of interesting. The contemplations this week were all about building our empowerment and who we are and strengthening ourselves, that sort of thing. So I wanna start out this week with a simple reading by Meister Eckhart. And what he says is, what we plant in the soil of contemplation, we shall reap in the harvest of action. And that's kind of what empowerment is really all about, is about how we plant our seeds and they grow and develop into the actions of our lives. So the first contemplation I kind of want to look at is this one here. The like merging of tracks into one rail. The creative power of the universe flows from the inner unmanifested level of awareness to the outer manifested level of our life. And that's very much like what Meister Eckhart was saying, that when we work with the creative power of the universe, Edgar Cayce used to call God the creative powers, the creative source. And that's kind of what we're talking about here, is the creative power of the universe flows from within us. And from within us, it increases that level of awareness to our outer life, to bring it forth so that our actions are coming from the source of the universe. And we're manifesting that into our lives. That's really powerful. That shows that we have creative power in our life, that we have the ways and the means to be a creative source. And we don't think of ourselves that way. We don't think of ourselves as having that much control, that much power. But when we come back to our foundation of our spiritual center, and when we work from that center and allow it to flow through our being, then we do have that creative power at our, as an ability to be able to manifest in our lives. So I like to think that yes, I'm one person. We all are one person, but we're interconnected with everyone. And you've seen this coming together. You've seen a huge amount of coming together this week, where people they know what's right and they know what's wrong, and they're speaking out against what's wrong. And that's powerful. They're coming from their truth. They're coming from their inner being, that essence of who they are, and they're building the courage to move forward. So what I encourage is kind of what is exemplified in this contemplation. Consciousness, consciously use the intelligently organized capacity of nature to guide with choices and decisions for an empowered life. So we want to build our character. We want to build our strength. We want to build it from who we really are, our true nature. And so if we consciously use that intelligently organized capacity of nature, nature is all around us. No matter where you live, nature is always around us. And if we tune ourselves into our natural environment, it can guide us. It can help us with choices and decisions. Because everything that we see in our circumstances is available in nature. Examples of it are available in nature. And we can use that to help us and guide us um, toward our empowered life. That could be, a bit of a challenge. It takes a certain amount of, uh, of shift of consciousness in order to do that. In my life, I was very fortunate. In my youth, my parents had moved out to Arizona for a while, and for quite a while. And I got involved with a bunch of my friends who were Native American, and their grandmothers kind of taught me the natural way of living, of paying attention to your surroundings. And everything in it has a message for you. And when you pay attention to that, it empowers you. It gives you strength that the universe is there talking to you all the time. But so much in today's society, we're just wrapped up in our circumstances, and we've lost that connection to our natural environment. And so that's very much what I was trying to say in that contemplation, that we need to come back to that level of awareness. And so this contemplation talks about awareness. It says developing empowerment by consciously using awareness, attention, alignment, and allowing. Allowing is very powerful. Allowing is being aware and paying attention, being aligned in yourself, but allowing the circumstances to unfold and allow and seeing those circumstances with a clearer vision. So by developing our empowerment, again, we're talking about our empowerment, strengthening ourselves so that we can live in this world. And we do that by consciously using our awareness and by staying aligned in who we are. So living within the natural world, being aware of what's going on in the natural world, and then walking back out into the world. Like in this image, there's a sacred spiral here, and there's a foundation at the center of that sacred spiral. And from that, there's a path, a spiral path that allows us to walk back out into the world. Once we've created that foundation, we can walk back out into the world and with that empowerment. We want to not make rash choices in life. We want to come from that empowered center, and we want to do it in such a way that we are fair and honest and living within our truth. So it's important that we have an understanding, that we understanding a difficult situation allows us to triumph confidently. And so looking at this contemplation, understanding a difficult situation to triumph confidently is self-mastery. Because what is empowerment? but coming to a level of mastery within ourselves. And that is the spiritual path. That is what life is really all about, is learning how to develop self-mastery. When we're a child, we're aware and in awe of all of life. And as we go through adolescence and stuff, we tend to strike out. We tend to try to, spread our wings a little bit and try to leave the nest. But then, eventually we have to come around to settle into ourselves so that we can be productive, so that we can be a part of what living is really all about. And how do we do that? We have to take time to understand the situations that we live in. And right now we're going through some difficult times, but we need to really focus and organize ourselves so that we can deal with this and be triumphant and to come at it confidently. That's self-empowerment, is it confidence, is building that confidence within yourself. And as you're doing that, the more that you do that and the more that you build on it, one step at a time, you start to work towards self-mastery. And that's incredibly powerful. It's incredibly motivating when we've accomplished even one of the small steps, but we keep building one upon another on another. That's how we keep moving forward. And that's how we begin to live a life. So here in this contemplation, we talk about aligning ourselves to the force of creation. Again, the force of creation. We have so many names for it. We have so many names. God, Goddess, all that is, and we have to align ourselves with that and keep that in our center being, in our center core. Keep that oneness, that unity that we all are a part of. Keep aligned to that. And when we do, we allow the attention to rest in self-awareness. So our attention is often distracted by the sense that we are separate individuals. And that's an illusion. We know that that's an illusion, that we are not really separate individuals. We are interconnected in so many different ways. But we need to also be aware of our self-awareness, of what are we putting our awareness on, and then be assured that when we're centered and we align ourselves with the force of creation, that we can then be confident. Remember, we're talking about empowerment and confidence and within ourselves. We can be confident or rest in our self-awareness, because that self-awareness is helping us to build our own empowerment. We've had some really powerful contemplations this week, but this is a powerful week. We're trying to create a voice. We're trying to organize. We're trying to move forward in life. And so it's really important that while we do that, that we know what our foundation is. So to be in your foundation, be in your foundation. When you are in that place that is your foundation, your center of being, then you can utilize the power of unboundedness to overcome the dysfunctional limitations of our times. Yeah, we've talked about it, we've seen it, we've lived through it this week. We've experienced that need to express ourselves as standing up for what is our truth. So how do we do that effectively? By knowing and building our empowerment so that it becomes a foundation of who we are. That courage, that strength, comes from our foundation. And we utilize that power through our meditations, through our contemplation, so that we reach that unboundedness, that unlimited potential within ourselves to overcome the dysfunction of the circumstances that tend to limit us in our day-to-day life. This week's contemplations are to help us, to guide us, and to allow us to lay that foundations. We're just at the beginning of this new shift, and it's coming at us with a lot of chaos, But when we maintain our solid foundation, we lay that foundation in a way that empowers us. We can now make clear choices, and we know where our truth is, and we know that we have a voice, and we can be courageous and move forward and help in creating a better reality for everyone that's involved. I want to thank you for being a part of this week's contemplations, and be good to yourself, lay that foundation, and namaste. We'll see you next week.